Nigerian Education Loan Fund, that's NELFUND, says it has successfully disbursed 20,000 naira in monthly upkeep stipends to 20,371 students in 6 universities across the country. The stipend, which was for the month of July, according to the nation's student loan agency, covers only students whose institutional fees have already been paid by NELFUND. The 6 schools are Bayero University, Kano, Federal University, Dosinma, Katsina State, University of Ilorin, Kwara State, University of Benin, Edo State, University of Ibadan, Oyo State, and the University of Maiduguri, Borno State, respectively. In a statement to this effect on Monday by its Director of Finance and Accounts, Mr. Ibom Uche, NELFUND explained that it was diligently working to commence the payment process for students from approximately 55 additional tertiary institutions. The statement read in full that the management of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, under the leadership of Mr. Akintunde Sawyer, the Managing Director, has announced the successful disbursement of monthly stipends for the month of July to 20,371 students from the 6 tertiary institutions that were earlier mentioned. This initiative further underscores President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's promised unwavering commitment to supporting Nigerian students by ensuring financial stability throughout their academic pursuit. Yes, I'm going to channel this, the first opportunity to speak to the SCG president of the University of Port Harcourt. Martins, let's hear your thoughts on this one.
You know, we once talked about the student loan.
Yes.
We've been here before and we talked about it, and I told you I appreciated the president and his team for coming out with such a well-thought idea, okay? And I told you that it was a right step in the right direction. And they said they've started disbursement.
Yes.
I think at the end of the day, I'll have to reach out to my colleague. We have a council of SCG presidents across the country, so I'll reach out to my colleagues to confirm. But I know they've sent me the link. They've sent me the link to access the NELFUND loan. I actually have the link, and I've been sharing it on different platforms, okay, here in the University of Port Harcourt, so that our students can actually have access to this particular loan. So I appreciate the president, who in this time has actually taken a well-thought program as this. I think this program is well thought because it helps to cater for the welfare of Nigerian students, and that's why I appreciate him so much for this particular idea. 20K can actually go a long way for the ordinary Nigerian student that is there in his hostel. So I appreciate the president, and we look forward to
but looking at loans in general for students now, there have been talks about graduating, and there's no guarantee of a job waiting for you once you're done. So people have been asking, how do we expect students to get to pay up these loans, giving student loans instead of grants, or instead of loans instead of grants. But let's get your thoughts on that. And then there's also the argument of 20,000 naira being laughable. All right, we had this conversation earlier. 20,000 naira being laughable. It's not even up to the minimum wage, in the words of an analyst. But let's get your thoughts on that.
Okay, the issue of the student loan.
Yes.
The last time you asked me, I have not had time to actually go through the material to know the terms. But I think there is a misplacement of semantics here. Are these loans going to be repaid?
They are loans.
I asked that question.
They are loans.
No person. I don't think they are going to be repaid.
But they are loans.
I think they are grants.
But why are they called loans?
I don't know.
The president told us they are loans, and you just saying they are grants.
If they are loans, how do we pay back?
That's the question. Let's go to Lovely first of all before we come back, because the students, it seems the students who are taking this loan, they don't know, because it's going to look like they don't know it's a loan.
I don't want to believe that. I'm thinking that the loan there has to do with the system, the platform that is providing this particular stipend for the students.
Exactly.
You understand? Not that the stipend that is being given is a loan.
Exactly.
National Education Loan Fund.
No, that's very wrong, because ever since it was talked about right from the beginning, we have been told, we all know, well, let's not change the definition of a loan. A loan is a loan. A grant is a grant. They cannot be used as interchangeably now, as synonyms rather. So it's a loan. That's what we're told. That's what reports have told us. As far as this 20,000 from the students' loan for their fees now, and even for businesses. That's what we're told, that students will be given loans for businesses and for their fees, for students who cannot pay their fees. That is the explanation that we were given.
Okay, first of all, let me commend the federal government for that initiative. But just like you said, if the particular stipend that we had, that the platform has started paying is a loan, then that means the federal government has to review.
No, the student loan now. Let's look at this, the student loan for their fees now.
For their fees,
yes, that the disbursement has already begun.
But that's quite different from the stipend, the 20,000
Yes, from the 20,000 naira we're talking about.
That is what I'm saying, and that's why I talked about semantics. For those of us from communication angle and now philosophy, analytic philosophy, we'll try to make sure that we'll give exact interpretations to assertions and statements in order to avoid ambiguity. That's the essence of doing a study of semantics, okay? You want to eradicate ambiguity so that one statement as intended by the speaker of that particular utterance will not be misinterpreted by two different listeners. What's the definition of stipends? What does it mean for stipends?
No, our conversation earlier. No, our conversation earlier was probably you didn't get me. We're talking about the student loan now. I know we're talking about the 20,000 naira that was given, but then I made reference to the student loan.
Okay.
And I also made I referred to an analyst statement on the stipends, first of all, that 20,000 naira, some people feel it's laughable.
Yes.
That is not even up to the minimum wage. That's on that side. And then I made reference to the student loan that the federal government have told us to give giving to students, and how the students will get to pay at the end of the day. So those are like two statements that were made. I guess you merged both of them.
Okay. Yeah. Now I get your question. You know, repaying those loans is actually going to be difficult. Looking at the employment visibility in the country, and there are some persons who actually graduate and they might not want to go into civil service. And I told you the last time we discussed about this, that we already have a data problem in this particular country. So if there is a data problem in this particular country, employment is not guaranteed. We have people in their thousands, young graduates in their thousands, who have left school for 2, 3, 4, some even up to a decade, and they do not have jobs. It means that the aftermath of this whole thing is that it's going to fall back on the government, and this particular program or idea is not going to pass the test of time. Because when you give trial to a thing and you see that that thing is not being productive, you have no option than to cut it off.
Sure.
You're going to cut it off and then stop. It's a good idea that Nigerian students having financial crisis should have access to funds in order to help them deal with the issues. But when there are no stable platforms to actually repay these particular loans, the federal government cannot be putting in money on something or into a thing that is in turn not going to be productive. They will have no option than to scrap the scheme.
But you, at first you said it was commendable.
Yes, I did. And I still maintain my stand that it is commendable, but we are not looking at the place of sustenance.
Sustainability,
We are not looking at the place of sustainability. If this idea is good and you've already initiated it, payments have begun, have you been able to set platforms and structures that can help us sustain this particular idea for quite some number of years?
Right.
If you don't, then another administration might probably come on board
and cut stuff. Loveday, let's look at the repayment of the students' loan for fees now.
Okay, my colleague has actually said
Spoken your mind.
Yes, but I just have something to chip in, like an appeal to the federal government.
Okay.
The initiative is a laudable one, and it has to be commended by all. I can still recall when we were in school, we were looking for such opportunity, but we hadn't, you know, so it's quite commendable. Now, the repayment aspect of it, that is where the whole thing lies.
Very expedient.
Yes, very critical. And that is why I want to appeal to the federal government. Having come up with this concept of, you know, making facilities available for the undergraduate students,
yes,
they should also move a step further, you know, by looking for a way, let it be a system that beneficiaries of this particular facility, once they graduate, there should be a place where they will be absorbed by the federal government. Once that system is being put in place, as they graduate, you engage them, and then from there they can now pay the loan. But after graduation, if there is no place where they can be absorbed by the federal government, the same government that provided the facility for them, then it becomes a problem. And that's why I also want the federal government to look at this particular area as well. That's the area of, rather than just providing loan, I don't know the yardstick with which they are the students are assessing this loan, those that are qualified, or if it's just general, those that are willing, without any maybe yardstick aside that. Now, if it's something that is general, then the government has to look critically into the aspect of those that are enterprising, rather than making it a general stuff. Look at those that are enterprising, those that has entrepreneurship skill and ability, encourage them from the university platform, help them to grow their business, their business ideology. The government should support them. So once they graduate, with the help of the government, they automatically becomes employers of labor.
All right.